Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Virtue's Brand of Wrestling right here on the BigVitoBrand.com. I am Virtue, wearing the Getting Color shirt, or Got Color, with Big Vito's logo on it. And I am being joined once again by Rob. Rob, what's up?
Hey, guys, what's going on? I am super happy to be here on a very special edition. I know we have a lot of really great topics.
You never got nothing, man.
That's a possibility, man.
There he is, Big Vito LaGrasso.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Vito, what's up, man? Cutting Rob off already. I love it.
Yeah, because he's a jobber. You know what I mean? How many people can I carry? How many? Rob, I see your haircut. You might as well just shave it off.
I know, right, man? Oh, man, I've been thinking about that for a few weeks.
I mean, your beard can only go so high over your head. I mean, Jesus.
It could be a good look, though.
No, definitely.
No, Vito, you're looking pretty dapper. Look at you, man. I don't know what you're doing, where you're at, but let's get the ball rolling, because when I saw you mentioned something to me over the last 24 hours, and we finally are going to have a big disagreement. Rob and I have talked about Sami Zayn's recent promos, and you said, based on the one yesterday on Raw, that it was complete and utter garbage. Please tell me why you think so.
It's utterly garbage because you have too many cooks in the kitchen, and people need to realize there needs to be one guy writing things, one guy doing things, and you can't have 50 people writing promos and doing stuff. Having this long segment where you're just talking gaga, ba 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 ba, and it's boring, it's annoying, it's horrible. He has no talent. He shouldn't even be on the roster.
Now, I was bored with Sami Zayn for the longest time, but I don't know. Are you listening to the context of these promos? He is literally lambasting the marks. I'm a fan, Vito. He is literally lambasting the marks, the fans. I love it. You know, Vito, I'm on this social media crusade. I get people voicing their opinions, right? I'm getting so sick of negativity, though. Instead of talking about what you hate, just don't watch it. Talk about what you like. Let those ratings go down on Raw. Don't even go. But people, the diehard fans, still have to consume the product to complain about it. Rob, remind Vito your take on this situation. I think you were similar to me.
Yeah, I am similar to you. I like the promo a lot. Now, the question I have for you, Vito, do you not like the promo itself, or do you not like the fact that it doesn't really match the show? Because I think you're right in a lot of sense that it seems to take a lot of different people writing things, and the show doesn't really flow together. It doesn't really meld, you know what I mean? It's not really a melting pot. And the Sami Zayn promos, I will agree, they do stand out, but I think they're refreshing. I think they're a good take, and a lot of it is how I feel, basically, about a lot of the current fan base. So, like, what is it exactly that you don't like? Is it, like I said, just the promo itself, the person delivering it, or is it the fact that it's kind of out of nowhere and it doesn't really fit the show at all?
It's all three things, because you have a show that's a wrestling show. We want to see action, right? We don't want to see promo after promo. We already have Bray Wyatt coming on. Then we have Roman Reigns coming on. Then we have Sami Zayn coming on. And then whoever else is going to come on for a promo. And then you have the talk show segment, which you just had tonight with Owens. Now, how much friggin' talking can you do, and how much stuff can you possibly squeeze into one show without giving quality wrestling? You just had Randy Orton. He's probably one of your best guys, your all-time guys, in that 3- or 4-way match. You can't give him a singles match. Rather see him in a singles match and start an angle with one of them guys and have him in a 4-way, which makes no sense. You have 10,000 different directions going on. You're trying to draw a storyline out where you're not drawing it. You're just putting guys in positions with nowhere to go and nowhere to hide. It just seems like it's all muddled together. They're throwing things together in the pot with no direction. They have so many writers up there, and they have so many people. It should be, I'm going to say it like this. ECW with Paul Heyman, there was one writer, one direction, successful. Eric Bischoff, WCW, during his heyday, one writer, one direction. When the ratings went down, they brought Russo in, the ratings went up. The Attitude Era, Vince Russo, basically, and McMahon. Well, Russo was the spearhead of that. Okay? You go to TNA. TNA, they had over 2 million viewers. What do they have now? They're lucky if they get 200 viewers. You look at today's product, right? Now, Vince Russo is not there. I'm not saying he's the all and almighty God. They got Pritchard. They got Jarrett. They got this one. They got that one. They got the other one. And where are their ratings? They're in the toilet. That's because you have too many guys. You have too many guys with the old values in there. You need to clear it out, and they don't have wrestling people in there, right? They don't have. They're hiring these writers from MTV. What are you bringing from MTV? A couple of jokes, or you bring in psychology to wrestling? You can't mix the both. And if you do that, then maybe we might get back to what reality is. A good wrestling show where you're developing characters. You have some talent out there. I was talking to Vince Russo today. I says, and I gave him some ideas. There are things I would do because I come from that era and I wrestled in that era. There are special guys out there. If you put them in a spot or give them a persona of guys from the old era, like an Undertaker branding another guy. You have maybe Randy Orton bringing him in to be another guy. A John Cena bringing up another guy. Now you're developing stars because these guys are actually getting the rub from the guys who did it before them. They don't have anybody from the old era bringing in as a manager, taking on guys in. You know what I mean? And that's where the problem is. I know somebody's going to watch this and going to say, man, did you hear what Vito said? We're going to start doing this. Mark my words, every time I say something, they go and do it. And I'm telling you guys, this is what the problem is today with today's booking.
So with Sammy, is it because, obviously he was a boring wrestler before they at least let him to, get the stick and talk a little bit? Is it because it's not going anywhere? It's just been like a month straight of him ranting on the fans with no feud with a wrestler where he can parlay this anger into an actual wrestling match and feud?
Yeah, he's talking all this garbage, right? Okay. Now,
I see your point there.
You're doing all this garbage. Okay, now, eventually somebody's going to come out from the back. Hey, I'm tired of you. Okay, so now once you start this and you do an angle with this guy and it's a one-off wrestling match or a one-off pay-per-view, it was a waste of time. Because where's Sami Zayn going? He's not in the championship realm. He's not in anything. You got a guy like Elias who's a monster. Who guys has a great character. The guy's buried. He's saturated. Nothing against the B team. They're a good quality tag team. Now, the B team, Roman Reigns just beat basically 3 guys. So that just wiped out Elias, wiped out the B team. You put over Roman Reigns in a match where, Roman Reigns should have lost, or he should have got screwed over because he had the enforcer ref. Now he's going to go look at Shane McMahon, and then once you go with Shane McMahon, okay, you got Kofi Kingston's going to wrestle with Kevin Owens, right? And probably Kofi will keep the title for Roman Reigns.
Oh, that title's eventually going to Roman. You know that. Dude, what if Roman was the guy?
Or unless they do a swerve where they swerve everybody and they give the title to Shane McMahon because he's never held that title.
Oh, that puts a lot of people off.
And then I could see that happening because that would make sense. If Shane McMahon won the title, he's starting this thing with Roman. If he's supposed to be the best in the world, he's got the title. Pay-per-view, Roman Reigns over Shane McMahon. I just booked it. Thank you.
Well, let me add something real quick to that.
Go ahead, Rob.
So
Go ahead.
A quick question for Mr. Vito. So I've never been in a professional wrestling locker room, and obviously you have. You've had great success with that. How much communication is there between all of the writers? Because you bring up a good point. A lot of this does feel like you have 20 different people that have a vision, and then they try to force that vision and smush it together, and you wind up with a convoluted mess. Is there communication between the writers, or is it just not enough? What's your opinion on something like that?
Guys, let me tell you something. When you're a yes guy, and that's what Vince McMahon likes yes guys, right? And you're all sitting there like puppy dogs, and you're in there in your corner, and you got your little pad and paper, and you're writing, you're looking over your shoulder, making sure nobody copies your stuff. Hey, Vince, I have an idea for you. Or, hey, Vince, I got this for you. We're all a bunch of puppy dogs looking to get Vince McMahon's approval. Vince is going to snatch it out of your hand, go and read it. This is shit. He throws it in the can. So how much do you really think continuity is there? Because if they all put their heads together, I know they all sit in a boardroom and they all talk about things, but ultimately it's Vince McMahon's thing. You don't think that secretly they're going and giving Vince McMahon a sheet of paper or emailing Vince directly, hey, I have this idea, hoping that Vince will like and give him a pat on the head in front of everybody so he could be, go and get Vince a cup of coffee? Come on, guys.
Now there needs to be somebody that challenges Vince McMahon that gives Vince the hot ideas where Vince listens to him like he did Vince Russo. Rob, I want to ask you this: Go to Sami Zayn's promos. Now, obviously, he hasn't got a feud over this right now. What if they booked the same style of promos that Zayn's doing, but let Roman Reigns do them without any handcuffs? Could you imagine how much those fans would hate Roman for saying those things to him? And then could you imagine the push they could give to a wrestler to work against Roman that the fans would get behind? Oh, but Rob, Vince will never turn Roman heel, because that's exactly where that would go. But could you imagine? What's your thoughts if Roman was cutting these same promos as Sami Zayn?
Roman should have been cutting those promos, and I believe that I enjoy them from Sami Zayn because, again, I think it's entertaining to watch him call out all the marks and then have the marks cheer him because they're dumb. Like, I enjoy that. That's humorous to me. If they gave these to Roman Reigns and didn't make him memorize a really long scripted promo and just gave him bullet points, and he could do it from real emotion because he's been mistreated by fans for a very long time, and he even had people, questioning his cancer and his illnesses. So I think he could have some legit passion behind it. It would make him a monster heel. But again, as you have said time and time again, no one can be bigger than WWE, and even the golden child of Roman Reigns has to be constrained because of that fear that someday he could leave, and Vince just doesn't want to face that. That's what I believe the situation is.
Yeah, I like all great points on Sami Zayn. And Vito, thank you for differing, making me see it from a different light. You're right. They need to book Sami against somebody. Make this interesting. I love that he's dissing these fans that hate everything, but let it go somewhere. Let's move on. Bray Wyatt. Rob and I have talked about Bray, Vito. I don't know if you and I really focused on this new direction. So you didn't like the Sami promos. What's your take on the Firefly Funhouse? Is this something like 1997 Three Faces of Foley? Can Bray make this work?
This will be great if they let it go the way it's supposed to go. Yes, it'll be great. If it turns out they're going to cut him off as soon as he gets hot, another waste of time. And you killed the Wyatt family when there was no reason to. That thing should still be going on, bigger than life. What's to say that Bray Wyatt couldn't mesmerize the Undertaker? You did it to Randy Orton. Why couldn't you do it to the Undertaker? And have a whole thing where, like you have, or even have Daniel Bryan join the Wyatt family. That would have been great. And I'll even give you a scenario. What's to say you do something where you have everybody in a graveyard and you have Harper and Rowan digging holes, and they go into feuds with guys. And then after the feud is over, they're putting dirt back on the hole. Okay, that's another one buried. Let's move on. And they start in a process like that. I'm giving everybody ideas because I know what I'm talking about. I hope WWE is listening. Well, they probably will and say, man, that Vito is really smart. Too bad we have issues with him, or else we could use him in the office. But if you had something like that, now you got a good foursome there with Daniel Bryan as a cruiserweight heavyweight who could wrestle the cruiserweights. You got two monsters like that, a former world champion. You got two former world champions, and you got former tag team champions. You have a championship caliber roster there. Why can't you utilize these guys?
They got so many. They got 200 plus wrestlers. They don't know what to do with any of them.
Yeah, but the thing is if you put them in groups, and some guys are better in groups. Kevin Owens is not a singles. Kevin Owens is better in a group. But if you put Kevin Owens in some kind of cult following, or make him devious, or something. When they started him off and put him in with the New Day, right? I thought, man, this is good. Kevin Owens got some wingmen. Now he's going to be good, and he actually did pretty good with the guys. When he's a single, he doesn't have that effect. Doesn't have that persona, that personality, that charisma.
So you would have kept him in the New Day in Big E's place maybe until Big E came back and then created the friction there? Because obviously you know why they did that, to turn him heel to face Kofi. So you actually.
But he was already a heel.
He came back from injury as they were trying to portray him as a face. It was weird, Vito. Anytime somebody comes back.
But you see his personality and how funny he was, and he was into it, and he had a good time with it, and the people bought it, hook, line, and sinker. And then as soon as he started to get a little steam as a babyface, they snatched it away from him.
Now, Rob, this is 2 weeks in with the Firefly Funhouse and Bray. I see the sadistic vision that this is leading to. 2 weeks in now, do you have any change of thought from last time we talked about this?
No, I'm pretty much in the same spot, man. I think it's probably my favorite part of Raw. I think Bray Wyatt is insanely creative and talented, and I 100% agree with Vito. And I think we kind of talked about it. If they let him do this gimmick, it's gonna get over, and it's gonna be great. I would like to see him add stuff because, as you and I both agree, there are not enough factions. And as Vito alluded to, some people do better than a group, and I think Bray might be one of those people as well. I would love to see Bo Dallas get pulled into that because I think his current gimmick could fit into that weird kind of psychopathic thing. Maybe have him pull in a couple other people. But I really like the idea of having someone who's really happy and nice and positive that just snaps and has that dark streak because it gives their character depth and it gives them different feuds that we wouldn't expect and different interactions with people. So this is by far my... Exactly.
Mankind.
And I would love to even see them do a throwback to have Bray Wyatt come out twice at a Rumble or something like that. Have him come out as his happy demeanor, have him get knocked out, and then have him come back with his lantern, do different things like that. They could have a lot of fun with it. It just depends on how much they handcuff him, how much they trust him, and how much they actually want this gimmick to get over.
And remember, let him in. He keeps saying that, just let me in. That's the creepy part about it because they're making it like he's talking to kids. Let's move on. You know who the big champions from WrestleMania are? Becky Lynch, Becky Two Belts, stupid, and Kofi. You tell me this, Vito. I'll start with you. The steam is gone. To me, they have nosedived since WrestleMania. I think nobody cares about these two.
Becky comes out and cuts these long-winded promos, and she's talking she has a different type of accent and a different way about her promos. Like she's trying to be tough and she's trying to talk like Brooklynese. Hey, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm trying to talk like a man instead of doing her persona, trying to come off like a man. So now you're killing it. She's been getting beat up by Lacey Evans every week. So now we have that scenario. But now once you don't have Rousey and you don't have Charlotte and you don't have this one, you have Becky Lynch standing there with the two titles, not going to put it on Lacey Evans. So what's going to happen? We're going to have another three-way, or we're going to have a split, or they're going to take the belts away from her. They're going to make a drop.
Now, Vito, she's defending both titles at Money in the Bank. I believe she's defending the SmackDown title against Charlotte and the Raw title against Lacey. So if I'm going to play early predictions here, Rob, and I'll ask you, I think she's going to defeat Lacey Evans to retain the Raw Women's title, and Charlotte's going to somehow win the SmackDown's Women's title. Therefore, the belts aren't both with her. What do you think? But here's the deal. I just feel she and Kofi have both already lost their WrestleMania steam.
I think she's going to beat Lacey, but I don't think she's going to lose clean to Charlotte. I think Lacey will come back out annoyed that she lost that match and somehow cost Becky that title. That way they can have another rubber match and then continue the feud that way, and then Charlotte can do whatever she does on her other show. That's the direction that I see that going.
All right, I see. Now let's talk about Kofi. I mean, seriously, I get the fact they had to finally put the title on an African American. But, why am I hearing that this is the greatest thing of all time from certain fans, specifically Kofi fans? And, Rob, I want to start with you because I think you've been very irritated online on Twitter with Kofi, coffee, whatever, fans. Explain. And then I want to hear Vito's take.
Yeah, so I was really supportive of Kofi winning at WrestleMania because it was a feel-good moment, and in my opinion, if they would have booked it right afterwards, it could have been one of the bigger storylines. They could have given him something to do, turn him heel, have faction war within the New Day, do something interesting. But what they've done with Kofi Kingston thus far is they're not giving him his own entrance music. So
pancakes.
Remember, yeah, he's still handing out pancakes. Before he was hurt, Big E was still the central focus of this faction, and I believe that they view him as the biggest prospect from that group. But what annoys me more than anything, and I always try to be reserved, I always try to be well thought out, I don't like to attack people, but I find myself on Twitter now reading these things from people who are acting like Kofi Kingston is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's absolutely false. Kofi Kingston, if this was 15 years ago, would be a cruiserweight champion at best. He is not good on the mic. His promos come off like Mr. T. I don't know what his new attitude is, and I don't care about anything he does. His finishing move is terrible. His music is terrible. His gimmick is terrible. He's not memorable. 5 years from now, if you ask me who was the champion in 2019 in April, I will say I don't remember. Let me look that up.
He's a flavor of the month. And interesting you said he's acting like, or fans think he's the next Stone Cold. Didn't they think that about Becky Lynch a couple months ago?
They think that about everyone who's doing the chase.
Vito, Kofi. I mean, this has probably been one of the most irritating title pushes I've ever seen as a fan. What's your take on it?
Well, guys, like Superstar Billy Graham said, you need to put 50 pounds of muscle on. It's not believable that he's a heavyweight champion, just like Finn Balor was not believable to be heavyweight champion. You know, Daniel Bryan, you know, he got by, but AJ Styles, not to say that they're not great wrestlers, but when you think of a heavyweight champion, you think of a Brock Lesnar, a monster. You know what I mean? And there's just not that type of wrestler out there no more. Kofi Kingston in this position. Hey, let's put it this way. Congratulations for staying in there and winning the title. That's great. Tag team champion, world heavyweight champion. Cool. Is it the flavor of the month for a lot of people who are on social media and on the indies and everything like that? Probably not. But the guy's got an opportunity because he's probably a good soldier, does his thing, you know. And they basically, guys, they don't have anybody else to put it on who they haven't already put the title on. We're going to put on Randy Orton again for the 19th time? No.
They've never put it on Braun Strowman.
Say what?
They've never put it on Braun Strowman. I mean, you're talking new monster type, old school looking wrestlers.
Yeah, but they already finished Braun Strowman. They already killed his persona already. They killed him. He's not that indestructible force. He could lift a building. He could lift a truck, a Mack truck, tables, chairs, this, that. But he can't beat a human being. And he's always chasing these little runts around. So what did they accomplish with Braun Strowman? The same thing they did with Elias. They killed him off too.
Well, it's out. Rob,
let me ask you this real quick. Is this Kofi Kingston's fault for not being a good heavyweight champion, or is this the WWE's fault for failing to elevate their mid-card titles, which should mean something? But in that company, if you're not Universal or WWE champion, those other belts are just gimmicks, they're props, they don't care about them. So
now, guys, you're wrong in that. You're wrong in that scenario because, like I said earlier, they did not have the older guys groom the next generation and give the guys the rub. It's not just having the match. You guys forget that when Mr. Perfect was the manager of Ric Flair, now you had Mr. Perfect in a manager's role, you had Ric Flair. It was a good combo, right? When Paul Heyman was the mouthpiece for Brock Lesnar, you have the rub, and then when he went with CM Punk needed the rub with Paul Heyman, right? It didn't work for Cesaro. It didn't work for anybody else. Now, when Ric Flair was helping The Miz out with the figure four, that was the kind of rub that you needed. You need to bring these guys in, like I said, to give them that star quality, to teach them how to be that superstar. Get inside your head. I can tell you how to do these things because I've been there. But unless you know how to do it and you've been doing it for a while, you're not going to attain it. That's why there's no heavyweight champions. That's why the talent is lax in that concept. That's why it doesn't have that fan appeal because there's nobody there to give them that extra endorsement. Hey, this guy was brought in by John Cena. You see this rapper guy? You know, the Jason Jordan thing was an abortion. It wasn't believable. It was an abortion and it was a joke. It made Kurt Angle look stupid.
Yep, and they like to make their returning Hall of Famers look stupid, especially ones that left the company on their own accord. Now,
it's called Vince's revenge. When you leave Vince, he will make you pay for being unloyal to him. Just look at what happened on the AEW
Starcast?
Yeah. Okay. Kurt Angle's no longer there. He got a contract extension. Undertaker's not there. He got a contract extension.
And Jericho's not allowed to have any WWE superstars that are contracted on his podcast now. That's Vince McMahon for you. Speaking of Jericho, look when he worked with Owens. That made Owens, that was the rub. Look when Jericho worked with AJ Styles. So you're right, Vito.
John Cena with AJ Styles and John Cena with Kevin Owens. And then what happened? These guys floated down to mid-card. It's just like Enzo and Cass, right? Enzo and Cass have the best entrance. They got the best shtick, right? When they were with Cena and they went to WrestleMania, those guys, that was their time to get the titles, and they gave it to the Hardys. Shame on WWE because they should have introduced the Hardys the next night and give Enzo and Kaz a run with the titles and made the Hardys earn it instead of handing it to the Hardys.
What do you think was in WWE's mind when they had Enzo and Cass together, maybe up in the tag team title divisions, number one on the merch charts, and they split them up? Was it the backstage heat you think Enzo was getting? I know they moved Enzo to 205 Live to try to get the numbers up, but seriously, he did. But like they were a great act as that tag team, making Vince money on merch. Rob, why do you think they did that? And I know it's long history since they've been gone from WWE, but we know that they're still popping in and out. They're going to get a match on pay-per-view against the Briscoes. Mark my words. Fans are denying it, but go ahead.
Let me respond to that with a question. When was the last time a tag team title match main evented a pay-per-view or a big pay-per-view? Not just like when was the last time a tag team title main evented Mania or SummerSlam or the Rumble or any of these other things? Yeah, it just doesn't happen anymore. And they don't value tag team wrestlers. And you got a team like the Revival, in which I read on Twitter, they're offering them a $500,000 a year, some crazy amount. And they're just not using them because they don't care about tag teams. The only reason Vince keeps tag teams right now is so they don't go to another promotion. But the fact that they dropped the ball on Enzo and Cass, which I wasn't the biggest fan of Enzo, but I think he was probably the best talker in the company. I didn't really like his work rate, but who am I? You know what I mean? I'm a mark that watches. My opinion doesn't matter in that sense. But I would still rather watch them all day, every day than the B team.
Now, when you mention Enzo, right? You say, okay, they split them up. Who knows whose Cheerios both those guys pissed in? But when they put Enzo to 205 Live, Enzo carried that whole division. You sat up and watched. Since he left, down the tubes, right? Kaz isn't a singles monster, and because he wrestles like a 6-footer and he's a 7-footer. He doesn't wrestle like a big man. He's athletic. He's got a good look. But he wrestles like a little man instead of a huge big man, right? You want to know who fell off the charts, who nobody talks about no more? Carmella, Money in the Bank winner, and I said this to Virtue. I said, you really want to pop the crowd? Have Carmella run down when Brock Lesnar's wrestling to cash in the Money in the Bank. That would have friggin' set all-time records, and the alarms would have went off on Twitter and all social media.
Oh, well, they saved all. They didn't do all that, Vito, because they wanted Nia Jax to be in the men's Royal Rumble match.
But Carmella was there before that. But what I'm telling you is, she held on to that for about a year. If she would have ran down during a Brock Lesnar match, all tough and everything, and threw it in the ring, that would have been the biggest, huge.
No, you're not proposing she would have won the title there. You would have just proposed a major tease like she was going to do it. Like what exactly? Okay, I think
walking down there with the case, with Lesnar down, or walking down there throwing it down where she's going to kick ass. The people would have been they would have been all off the seats. The place would have been going phenomenal. And then all of a sudden you have friggin' Lesnar all rocked and everything. He looks up and he's like this. And like he goes, and imagine him begging off, and she's going, "Come on, come on."
That actually would have been great TV, assuming she actually didn't cash in and win the men's title. Just right. that would be sports entertainment attitude era stuff.
I'd take an F5, man, and have her, not be completely dead afterwards to make her look like a badass. I could live with that.
Yeah, but what happens if she would have even just went over right before the thing, like as she's friggin' going over there and she slapped him in the face? And then as he gets up, she picks up a case and says, "See you. I'll talk to you later." That would have got everybody down with the talk of the town.
Yes. I like it. Yep. I like it. That's all the topics I wanted to cover. Rob, anything, since you are on video with Big Vito right now, anything that you want to add to this episode?
I mean, oh, man. The only thing I got is I told you before that, I watched wrestling growing up with my family, and I got to watch my mom talk about that Vito was hot most of my teenage years. So that was always exciting. So it's actually kind of ironic that I'm sitting here on a video with you. I'll have to show this to my mom. She's going to love that.
Yeah, she's going to love that. Just because I'm the BIG Big V. Moms are on my schedule all the time. Hotmoms.com.
You could be my new stepdad, Vito. I'll let it happen. How about that?
That's all right. We'll give you an allowance. Let's stay up till 9.
Give me some money to get a haircut or something, right?
We like you. I like you.
Vito, thanks for joining us. Now, did you have anything you want to throw in the pot on this video?
Guys,
I'm content.
Just keep on doing a good job. Listen to the Big Vito brand. You know, we have a lot of great products coming out. Go to thebigvitobrand.com. Check out Noel on Twitter. Check out Big Vito on Twitter. Check out Virtue on Getting Color. And we got our man here, the co-host with the most, sitting there happy in the pig and shit just because he's on TV with me.
I need a name, Vito. My name's Rob. I don't have any cool handle. I just go by Rob. I need a name.
Yeah, well, you know, Rob, you know, I know you bought that shirt with the butterfly collar there, but I mean, you know, get better clothes, man. Get better clothes.
Dude, are we going to call him Butterfly? We'll think
Butterfly.
We'll think of something. We'll think of something. Rob, you got your plugs?
Yeah, you guys can follow me at Xenomecha, Xenomecha. You can always find me here on the Big Vito brand. I know there's other places they can find me. Where is that going to be, Virtue?
You can find Rob with me right here on the BigVitoBrand.com on Virtue's Brand of Wrestling. You can find Rob with me on WrestlingWithWrestling.com once in a while with Wrestling with Virtue. And we're still trying to get Rob on NoDQ.com. Hell, even Vito was there for several episodes on the review.
Yeah, but hold on the No DQ panel, I was the host with the most, and that was the hottest show going for a while. I mean,
it was my favorite iteration of No DQ. I will say that.
Hey, listen, you know, hey guys, I got an impersonation for you. Who's this? Bro. Who is it?
Russo.
Thank you. All right, we got that. You guys are on the game. Now remember, go to my wish list, send me something. I know I'm waiting for an Olive Garden, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, they're here. You can follow Vito on Twitter. It's at the Big Vito Brand. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. And also go to my Facebook, NoDQ.com/Virtue with the lowercase v. And I just put up a rant, and it was in character. It wasn't serious, but you got to watch it. Even Vito, I don't know if that was you or Noel under your account, said, holy cow. But I just posted that up tonight. But that's it. This is Virtue's Brand Wrestling right here on the Big Vito brand. So for Rob, for Big Vito, I'm Virtue. See you next time.
Macho Man had to wait until he saw an opening to win the Battle Royal, get in there, and exit my car! Yeah!
Are you done? Are you done now?
No.
Are you finished? Are you finished now? You done? Y'all finished? Y'all done now?
Oh yeah!
I knew he wasn't done yet. Now are you done?
Elizabeth!
I knew he wasn't finished. I'll just wait.